Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Magic here. I totally screwed up my my analysis. I totally forgot to turn off the mic, or turn on the microphone. And then, I don't know, apparently XSplit just like crashed on me or something. I don't know, it wasn't working, so like, it just didn't even tell me that it was going to do that. And, well, it sucks, but, I'm just going to redo everything, and it's going to be just fine. Um, so hopefully you guys can hear me now. I think you guys, yeah, the microphone is good. We are set. All right, so we're going to start off today with a couple of Terran against Protoss games. We have three of them for you. And we're going to just start off with the lowest level, Platinum, and then go into Korean Masters. Gave me a replay, so we will be doing that as our third game. So it's just going to be Platinum, Diamond, and then this Korean level, Master level player, top Masters level player is going to be our third game. And we're going to actually be doing a total of 5 games, but the first 3 are going to be Terran against Protoss, and then the 2 afterwards, I believe, is a Zerg against Protoss. Actually, the last 2 are Zerg against Protoss, so very straightforward, just Terran against Protoss and then Zerg against Protoss. So anyways, let's remove the overlay and get into this game here. Alright, so our player today is Computer. He is playing as Terran, and his opponent is Drutowski. Yeah, I'm just making sure I got the right replay going. Alright, so anyways, we're going to put it on his view here. He is spawned at the, well, it's the bottom left-hand corner on the Shattered Temple. There's no close ground positions any longer. Blizzard decided to take that out. It's just close air and and cross positions, I should say. But yeah, we're not going to look at Protoss at all. We're just going to look at it from Terran's point of view. And of course, at Platinum level, I always look for the SVs. Make sure you're constantly producing workers. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and put down that supply depot right by his gas. That's good. You want to get back to mining as fast as possible. You don't have to do a wall. You can if you want to just deny scouting, but he could always just scout earlier anyway. So, I mean, you might not even deny that probe anyways. So, I do like the fact that he's doing that. And, well, let's see. Not getting supply blocked only for a second. Not a big deal. Alright, so here's that probe from Drutowski. Drutosity. Okay, so Computer's putting down a barracks. Drutosity is just leaving his probe there. That's fine, whatever you want to do, really. I know he's going to be assaulting that SCV, and now that second SV coming off the line to chase after that probe. We'll see if Computer decides to put that SV back on mining, or if he continues to look at that probe. Nope, he's going to go back to mining. Very nice. You don't want to delay mining too long. Now, if you wanted to follow that probe, that's fine. Mining does help out, but it's good to make sure that he's not cannoning you or something like that, since you don't have a scout SV out. So I do like the fact that you're following him around a little bit, just to make sure and all that. And then you're going to get your Marine out, so he's going to be chased away anyways. So you can send your second SV to scout after that. Okay, so you got another SV going to scout, it looks like. I know he's going to come back. I'm not really sure why he's coming back, but he's coming back to do something. Going back to mining. No, he's going to come back out. Maybe scout, maybe produce some building. Looks like he has 100 now for a supply depot, or 150 for a barracks. Apparently it's going to be a supply depot. I wish that guy wasn't running around so much. That's like 15 minerals that you could have had, and that means things will just come out sooner. Which means everything in general is going to be maybe timed better. So, you do have to think about that. So, okay, so you're going to go for a factory now. Looks like both gases were taken. So I believe you are going to be doing a 1-1-1 build. And well, I'm sure Protoss knows about it. We'll see what he does in response. He does have second gas going up. And Warpgate Tech is online, or going online right now as well. So, alright, first Stark coming out. Pylon. Alright, so
SCVs are under attack.
We'll see how you do this 1-1-1 build. Usually you do some harass with the Banshees. You can use your Marines and Hellions in the front and pressure the front while doing some good damage with those Banshees. So there is that, but if he knows it's coming, he can just have a couple of Stalkers and be just fine. So we'll see. Alright, so he's going to Robo, which is kind of strange. Usually you don't go Robo so much because this 1-1-1 build is not so Marauder heavy. You're already spending so much gas on getting all those tech structures up, and it's generally just Marines and Hellions that come out. I wouldn't worry about Marauder too much, but either way, it's not bad to have a couple of Immortals going. Alright, so I got that starport. It's going to be finishing up in just a sec. You're not getting supply blocked. You're producing SVs pretty well. We'll see if you do that well when you are in battle, when you do that pressure with that build. And we'll also see if you do an expansion with that. Alright, so you're actually going for a second starport, do some extra Banshees, which is fine if you want a lot of extra Banshees. That's a good call. Banshees are awesome. Mix them with a couple of ground forces, they do a lot of freaking damage. Especially if you go tank and Marauder, if you have the gas to do tank, Marauder, Banshee, and then have some Marines for anti-air, it's kind of like they can't touch you because those Banshees can take out Marauder or take out Immortals so well, and then your Marauders slow units down, and tanks can do so much damage as well. So I mean, it's just such a good mix. So anyways, you have a medevac out, going to be doing a drop. It looks like pretty good timing on that. But since he did go Robo, he does have an observer out. I'm sure he's probably going to be defending it just fine. And alright, so now you're going to get that guy, that starport's on the tech lab, which is also nice. Alright, so you floated right by that pylon. Now you're using your drop. I'd try. Okay, you even have a factory going over there, so you're going to be able to produce some Hellions out of that too. So with that in mind, even if this drop doesn't do a lot, those Hellions might. But yeah, now he knows it's there, so I don't know how many Hellions you're actually going to produce. Let's actually look around a little bit. Looks like no guys have gone to attack that factory, and it looks like they're all going over for the drop. So yeah, lift up, get the heck out of there. I wish you would have gotten out of there a little bit sooner. This medevac almost died. If Protoss played that a little bit better, he could have definitely taken it out with that. Now you have a Hellion in here doing some damage. Try to get that Hellion out alive. It's kind of difficult in this position, so I mean, I wouldn't really suggest doing this with your factory. It seems like a good play, but I don't know, it's just so easy for this drop to be denied and the Hellion get denied. So you're kind of relying on your opponent not being good. So yeah, you're just scouting for the expansion. I don't know. I mean, you scouted the Robo. You know that he had a Robo, so dropping is still going to be good with that. But this factory play, it's just going to be so easily scouted, or part of it, either the drop or the factory is going to be scouted, and you're not going to actually be able to do all that much. But let's see, do you have a command center going up? Looks like not yet. It's just going to be, working off that one. I really wish you would have expanded during that, or something, but you're producing a lot of Banshees and stuff. So, I mean, that's really only phase 1 of the attack. So it is just fine. Don't worry about it so much. You got your drop out successfully. That's very crucial. You want to get that drop out. That is more than crucial. That's like game-changing right there. So I'm very glad you got that out. And you're also producing SVs. Looks like you didn't for a second there. So I wish you would have gotten it up. And now you have plenty of money for a command center or something like that. Just going to be producing something out of the factory, or these starports. So actually, you're doing all right. Okay, so command center is finally going down and all that. Let's see. We'll just have these buildings selected so we see how you're producing. Barracks and factory could be producing. Well, the factory is now, so that's fine. Your barracks could have been producing a couple of extra Marines. Like, you could have had like 4 more Marines with this. But yeah, you're going to be okay either way. Do some damage. Since he doesn't have a Nexus, you don't have to worry about it so much. But yeah, now he's getting a Nexus. You don't know about it yet. But yeah, I'd like to actually see these Banshees harass here while these guys pressure the front here. That will just allow you to guarantee damage, and as soon as you see his army, you can pull back if you want and get up that expansion. So in this position, you can just pressure it and get out of there. You have that command center going up. You can deny his expansion. This I would not suggest. Do not do this. Do not have your army just attack in there like that, especially without running back from the Zealots. You want to run back from the Zealots for sure. But yeah, he just has too many targets. Get this Banshee out. Okay, so you got the Banshee going out. Now it's coming back in. You're doing some okay micro, but I like to see those guys return back. Pressure, do not attack. You just attacked. The difference being, pressure will allow you to get up your expansion successfully. Like, your command center's done. This could be floating over here while your units are still here.
Research complete.
And don't fight his army. You know, his army is definitely bigger, and maybe you just, you know, made a bad call and decided, okay, maybe his army is too small, maybe I can kill it. If you're ever on the fence and you don't know whether or not you can kill his army, pull back. You know, he doesn't have a nexus. He doesn't. You don't have to do damage. You know, think of it like that. So that's what pressure is for, getting up your command center and all that. So yeah, you finally have your orbital vision up here.
Upgrade.
Now I believe you're going to be floating it soon. Yeah, okay, so you got a couple of guys here. You could have just had a lot more guys. You could have rejoined with these forces and then had even more. Let's see, what does he actually have now? Looks like he has nothing. That's kind of a blunder on his part. Just not, well, he does have some in his backyard. He's looking for the drop, possible drop going on. Alright, so now you got your command center floating over. Yeah, so he's being transferred. This could have been sooner, is what I'm saying, if you pressured and just brought it over at that time. That would have been really, really awesome. Gotten out of there alive. So that definitely was not an even trade for you. His army was just a lot bigger. So, unless you know you can take his army and continue on to do damage, get out of there. Even if you can kill his army, but you're going to kill it barely, get out of there before you even engage. If possible, you know. Just try not to lose all those guys, because your army was actually extremely costly. You know, that was a really expensive army with all those Banshees. So yeah, you do have a lot of Banshees left over, or at least now that you're continuing to produce them. Okay, now you're producing them. I like to see them produce a little bit faster. You know, try to, you know, that should be number one. Produce units, and workers, of course. Workers, definitely. And now you're securing your third, which is actually a really good time for your third, since he is expanded, since he is not attacking you, and since you are going 1-1-1. This expansion is not extremely necessary, but because of the situation, it is okay. Let's see. Are you doing a drop, or is he? Oh, he's attacking his warp gates. Because his immortal got stuck. Kind of a funny thing there. But yeah, he's got plenty of stock. There's plenty of zealots and immortals. Looks like you definitely do have enough to take that on, so don't worry about it so much. You know, those Banshees are going to be pretty good against those, you know, since they pretty much do 20 damage against immortals. You know, Banshees have 12 damage, but you have to multiply that by the number of attacks, so that 12 gets reduced to 10, and then times 2 is 20, so that's actually some pretty good damage there. So Banshee, very good against immortal. So if you're Protoss and you're looking at this, then yeah, try not to get so many immortals. Immortals are going to be good because of the Marauders and tanks, but those Banshees are really what you got to worry about. And yeah, Protoss, I mean, Terran really just doesn't have a lot of anti-air either, so you got to be careful of that. Looks like he has a couple of Vikings now, so I don't know. Sticky situation. But yeah, Terran now on so many bases. Protoss is expanded. Looks like you haven't scouted in a while. You did some scans a little while ago. I didn't actually see it this time, but the first time I saw it, which is good. You can scout by scanning, or you can pressure the front. You know, pressure the front, use this big force, move it here, and then Protoss is pressured into getting units. You know, pressuring just means that you go in there, you make it look like you're attacking, and if he doesn't have enough units, you kill him. You know, if you went too much with tech, or too much with Nexus, if you got too greedy with those things, then you can just kill him, you know. Or if he's a bad player, you can just kill him. And then if he has enough units, you just pull back and rejoin with more forces, and then you can have an even bigger push if you want to still push, and then, you know, do some more pressure with that. So anyways, you're coming out here with a very sizable force, lots of Banshees, lots of tanks and all that. Now they're sieging up. I'd like to see these spread out a little bit more, but whatever. And yeah, this goes extremely well just because he doesn't have a lot of stuff, and Banshees just rock. So, you know, I really just didn't have a lot of Stalkers, and these Marauders, of course, just going to chew them up. So that actually went really well. But yeah, be careful. Try to scout. You didn't even know about this third. You could have split up your Banshees, attacked this main here. You know, take out this cannon, take out some buildings. His units will come up the ramp to deal with the Banshees. And then you float up your Banshees over here and attack, or I should say pressure the natural, pressure the third. You know, check to see if he has a third. You know, put your tanks here, right there, and then his units will be back here, right? Which leaves your Marines and Marauders to kill this off, and then if your tanks are attacked, you can just run back and defend this position. So that'd be a very, very nice play for you. And of course, making SCVs and units continually. So either way, you won. You did a good job. Let's get into game number 2 right now. Alright, so game number 2 is diamond level. And I believe, yeah, it's 10 Ryu. That's another Terran against Protoss. So let's jump in here. Make sure the overlay is gone. Good. I'm still rolling. Alright, so with Tenryu, who spawned at the bottom right-hand position here, is our red Terran guy. And his opponent is Kakosmagos, who spawned at the top left-hand position here, is our teal Protoss guy. So it is red against teal. And yeah, let's just go into Tenryu's vision and see what's going on. Once again, this is diamond level, so it is kind of a step up from the last replay. And so at this level, you definitely should be making SVs constantly. If you have one queued up, then you have one queued up. Just make sure you're constantly producing them, because it is very important. And then when you reach like masters, then maybe you want to, make sure you don't have a ton queued up. Just definitely do not have like 3 or 4 or 5 queued up. 2 should be max, and you should only have 2 if you have like, if your first one's almost done in Masters League. Before that, if you have 2 queued up, even if it's just starting the next one, that's okay. Just make sure they're coming out. So anyways, you're going to be putting down that Barracks Velinas. Good timings on everything all around. That looks like you're going to use your next SV for scouting and all that. So pretty basic stuff going on here. Let's put it on ×2. Let's roll through this beginning opening. And alright, so now your SV's coming out. And yeah. Alright, so I do know that you're going to be going Command Center next, basically just because I casted, or analyzed this replay already. But these replays, I didn't see them before that. But yeah, since you are going to be going Command Center next, I would definitely like to see the scout earlier. Just to know that he's not going for a 4-gate or something like that. You should guarantee that this is going to be safe. By coincidence, he's going to be expanding as well, so we're going to be just fine. But yeah, otherwise a 4-gate would really be able to wreck you. And there's a barracks going up. Gonna be getting out some mariners. So I am glad that you're going for a second barracks and then the third barracks and then your gases. So I mean, that's going to allow you to produce a lot of marines to defend this position, and you can put them in bunkers and all that. And since your gas is delayed, you're going to be able to afford some bunkers with your minerals there. So whatever you need to do, you can do it. So yeah, and then with that gas, you can tech up, get some marauders or get tanks or whatever you want after that. So there's the SV transfer. Let's see. Unit counting tab. Looks like you're doing okay on that. You just got your expansion up. That's fine. You're constantly producing SV. Actually, well, there was a second you weren't producing, but it looks like it's all right. Stem's going up. Actually, yeah, with all those marines, I would prefer to see stem first. So that's a good call. Now you got a reactor factory going up. All the good stuff. 2 SV's been produced. Now only 1. Now there's 2. Now there's only 1. Try to put them together, if they, if you do it wrong and they're not together, then yeah, that you're just kind of have to remember that the entire game. So it looks like Protoss going for a Dark Shrine, which is okay. It looks like you have your marines at the watchtower now. I'd like to see these guys here a little bit sooner. You know that he's expanded, so you don't really need it right away, but it's just good to have something out so you know if he's going to pressure you or not. And then like, oh, I need to have guys at the bunker or something like that. Just some SVs repairing, or oh, I need to build a second bunker or something. And just a little bit of a heads up, always attacking me type of situation. And also, you don't really know what he's doing. So again, this would be a good time for pressure. Now, since you don't have stem quite yet, I would suggest not pressuring until like right now, and since you scouted right now, it turns out to be okay. So don't worry about it so much. Stim, of course, just in case like something happened, you can move all your Marines back, or if you wanted to, you could really just stim and kill off a whole bunch of units. But it really depends on the situation. You don't want to go in there and attack. Pull back if he has too many guys. When I say too many guys, I mean if you have slightly more, if you can take his army, but it's just not gonna have a lot of leftovers, don't do it. Pull back, because Protoss is gonna be in a good position then. Alright, so let's go to the everyone camp, see what's going on in the Protoss camp. You only have so many guys. But yeah, this definitely would have been able to take a bunch of Marines. So yeah, pressure either way would have been a good idea, just an attack would not. Alright, so you got Stim done, you got Concussive almost done, shields are on the way, all that good stuff. You have some medevacs coming out. With this kind of play, you do kind of want some extra bases. Marines and Marauders, it's nice to have some extra bases because you're going to lose a lot of guys. I would wait for the medevacs and then expand, and maybe do a drop while expanding. And looks like you're going to be moving out right now, and possibly expanding actually, so this is actually really nice. SV's going up, going to be plopping that down once you get that 400. Let's see, medevacs are coming out right now. Alright, 2 medevacs out, we'll see. Are you going to be doing a drop? Pressure some fronts. Alright, command center's going up, good timing on that. Now I would like to see this command center actually, if you're dropping and then put down the command center and then a drop is somewhat unsafe. His army could be literally at the watchtower coming towards your base right now, and if you're moving out with your medevacs, like 2 medevacs full of Marines and Marauders, that's a lot of units you don't have to defend. This is not really safe here. So this command center going up is not safe, so this is actually the wrong order. You should be doing the drop, and you should be pretty much getting to his base and then throw down a command center, or throw down a command center like right now while your medevacs are almost there, and then you can drop. But yeah, since Protoss has observers, he knows it's coming. He has Zealots and Dark Templar out to greet your drop. Let's see, are you going to pull back? It looks like, okay, you do pull back. I'm not sure if you see the Dark Templar. You got to, look for the ripple. That's really difficult in the heat of the moments, Got so much going on, and you got to, like, look for Dark Templar. Like, what is that? But, alright, so you're going to be dropping in the corner here. Now, he does have his big army there, so this is really not the best. Yeah, okay, good. You lifted up. You're getting out of there. Now, this is what I noticed the first time also. This drop was good, it was a good idea, but I'd like to see some pressure at the fronts at the same time with these units. The reason being, he pulled his army away from his natural, away from his third, to defend the drop. So right now, as you can see, his natural is wide open. You could actually just go in there with some units and kill off a whole bunch of probes, maybe even the Nexus. And then if he responds to it, you can drop with these guys once again, Now, since he does have Dark Templar, your drop would be cleaned up pretty easily, but, it'd still be guaranteed damage. At the same time. So the fact that he has his whole army here is just not very good on his part. He should definitely have him right here, since he's taking his third, and that would secure both bases, and then just maybe have a couple of Dark Templar on his base to defend against drops, maybe a cannon or 2. But yeah, since he is getting a third, he should definitely have some more defense here, and then have his main army here, and then, your pressure, that's really how you deal with what I'm talking about, with pressure and dropping at the same time. It might sound a little difficult, but it's really not that bad. You just 1A your army here, and then drop, and see where his army is. If his army is near the drop, then you pull the drop out and attack with your main force here. Now, of course, you want to be taking care of your base there and all that, so that's the tricky part. But, just a little bit of doing both. Alright, so now you're healing your drop, which is nice. And he moves his army away back to this position to defend possibly the natural if he needs to. Kind of a blunder on his part, since you do have some units back here once again for the drop. But yeah, this is just him being not that great. That's why you were able to do damage to that pylon and all that. So this definitely could have been assaulted a little bit earlier. Looks like you are going to gear up to do another drop. You have 2 more medevacs on the way over, and that's going to actually be at the 3rd, so that's good. You know, you kept this drop alive, so you can continue to drop with them, and now you're adding a 2nd drop, which is amazing. I know, while your 3rd is very secure. So I mean, Protoss right now, if he moved out to attack you, he would just lose his bases. You know, this would go down, and then you'd move your army into the natural, and your other drop would be in the main. And if his main force is at your base, you're going to win a base trade. So either way, it's going to be just fine. Alright, so oh, he did get up a 3rd. It's kind of up to you to take out his 3rd, because if he gets up to 200 food and you get up to 200 food, he's going to win the fight because he has stronger units. He has, you know, Dark Templar, Archons, you know, Immortals. These guys are all high-tech units, so looks like he's going to be defending this drop. If you take out the Nexus, it's already finished, so that's actually even better because it did finish. But I mean, I wouldn't say... No, I'm trying to say that, yeah, it did help you out to kill that off after it finished because you can't cancel it. But at the same time, that drop should have been there to deny it before it even finished. Because that would have actually been the best situation. Alright, so... Now it looks like you did send a couple units up here to assault this. That was okay. You had some units back here to do, you know, with your drop. Those were cleaned up. That just, you know... You're trying drops. I'm grateful. You know, at this level... A lot of players don't do drops and then they just lose and they wonder why. So I'm really glad that you're doing it. And now Protoss is moving out. He has a pretty sizable force here. Lots of sentries, I mean lots of zealots, plenty of archons, and some rolls of course going to help out as well. So yeah, it looks like no stutter step, no kiting. The thing is you want to, you know, stim, attack, move, or attack and then move back, and attack and move back, and attack and move back, so all of your units fire, run away, fire, run away, fire, and run away. That just allows you to keep some of those units alive, so that actually should have went a lot better. That micro definitely would have helped you out a lot. And then big engagement like that, you definitely want to be doing that, you know, like forget about your base for a second. That's like the one time when it's okay to do that. But it looks like you do have a pretty good sizable force. Actually, it's not that big. It's just a lot of SCVs that he pulled off to defend against this. And he's waiting for some reinforcements. He's doing a good job of that. So, I mean, before reinforcements get there, it's really the time when you want to do that, but you don't know where they are, so it's kind of tricky. Yeah, this is going to go not so good, because he's a lot of Dark Templar, and you don't have any detection. You know, when you were at his base, you should have seen that, oh, he has Dark Shrine, he has Dark Templar out. So you should get a Raven at some point. You know, switch to the starport with that barracks temporarily, get a couple of Ravens, and then go back to medevacs and Marines and Marauders, you know. But yeah, since this army is so much stronger tech-wise, you lost the battle and now you're losing the game because of it. Don't think, you know, and you attacked in the beginning, actually. You attacked after the drops. Now, pressuring at that time would be good, but since you attacked, that was actually not very good because, well, you did drops and denied the Nexus, and that's good. You know, you did some damage, and that was guaranteed damage without losing anything. However, you tried to pressure the front. I'm sure it was trying to be pressure since you had drops going on at the same time. Try to get your guys out of there. You see his main force, don't engage it. Just run away, you know. Guarantee your damage. And then just get out, and then you'll be safe with a bunch of guys left over. So otherwise, you lose your main force, and then he has big force, and you just don't have much, and then he just comes and kills you. So you have to be really careful of that. Mr. Tenryu. Let's see, is there anything else? Not really. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even use his third all that much, so I mean, that was a force that he's going to have even if you didn't deny that Nexus. But yeah, as soon as he moves out is the time when you want to definitely drop. You know, and in response, you kind of need cannons as Protoss at that time against drops. You kind of need a couple of extra Dark Templar or whatever, you know, some unit, in this case Dark Templar because you have Dark Shrine, but something to defend against those drops. So I mean, you did a good job just having a couple guys back here. But yeah, too many strong units and you lose. Alright, so we have one more game, and this is going to be a Masters level game on the Korean server, so this is almost like comparing, you know, this is like a GM level game. Like a lot of my friends that have Korean accounts, they drop they drop a league over there because they're just that good. So I mean, a Korean level Masters is almost same like their GM on the North American account, or I guess it's now the American server. So I don't know, just know that. All right, so we're gonna get into that game. I was actually just invited to a game, but we're not doing that because we're doing analysis. All right, here we go. Alright, so this is another Terran against Protoss. Once again, high-level Masters player, Effie, who's going to be our contender today. And his opponent is Hana, who is our Protoss dude at the top left-hand position. Effie has spawned at the top right. It is Terran against Protoss once again on Antigua Shipyard. Alright, so let's see, not much going on, just SVs and probes and all that good stuff. Drink some more honey deliciousness. Alright, supply depot going down, all that good stuff. Overlay is gone, awesome. We're still rolling. And yeah, just SVs being cranked out. The supply depot. See barracks. There's the barracks. Protoss getting a gateway. All good stuff. So yeah, this game was actually played on the Korean server, so his opponent is probably at the same level. Just for the record, that level is higher than my own level. Like I really don't play anymore, but these guys are better than I. Would definitely whip my ass no matter what if I played against them. So I don't know. I'm glad he's sent this in because I still will be able to find good stuff about his play. But at this level, usually macro is really good. They know when to get stuff and why, and they scout well and all that. So looks like this probe is gonna not get out. I was gonna say if he's gonna get out, that's kind of a blunder at this level. Okay, so his Marines picked it off, and now it looks like he's sending one out here. He's getting up a command center. He's scouted with his SV, which is why he's able to get up that command center. He knows that, oh, okay, Protoss is playing in a certain way, so let's get up a command center. Well, perhaps he just knows that Protoss players are just not going for gate as much anymore. So a lot of players just decide, okay, I'm just going to plop down a command center. I'd be a little bit careful of that. If you went for gate, this could be kind of an issue. But it turns out Hana is going to be going for a Nexus, so he's going to be just fine. And to be honest, you want to check his Terran to see that he's going for a Nexus or not. You don't want to assume that he's going to. Ooh, nice pick on that Stalker. Stalker number 2 is going to be running away with his life. And, oh, Effie handled that well, coming in and out of that bunker as necessary. And Hana is adding on a couple of gates. Looks like a Robo as well as the Nexus. So he's just getting away with a lot. He knows that his opponent's expanding. He's not going to be able to do a lot of damage with that. And just for the record, the safe way to expand is to get up a bunch of barracks with that and not get tech. So now he's teching afterwards. But since he did get up a bunch of barracks, Hana knows that, okay, I only have so many guys. Or, I mean, he has only so many guys, so I can get away with getting more tech. So that's why he's getting a robotics facility with his gateways, able to just get up some tech with also being able to defend against anything that Effie can throw at him. So just very good scouting. I just thought I'd go through that with you guys so you guys know what that's about, like the good way to do it. Alright, let's see. Factory's going up. 3 barracks, looks like 2 with no add-ons. A 3rd one with the tech lab so we can get stim and all that. A bunch of Marines. So this is actually very similar to the last game. And now Hana is actually doing some pressure here. Pressure starport's going up. Looks like, yep. So it looks like it's pretty much going to be like barracks opening with Banshees or drops maybe even, and this factory producing Hellion. So it almost looks like a 1-1-1. After these 3 barracks is here, it's more like a 3-1-1 type of thing. It's the same kind of build, just he got up an expansion, has his bunker for defense. Safely was able to get up that expansion, and now he's going to be doing this play. So we'll see how he does it. Alright, so Protoss actually going to pull Forge and all that. And, well, actually, yeah, he's actually getting medevacs with that. So he's just going to be doing Marines, Marauders, and medevacs. So don't be confused. I thought maybe he was going 1-1-1, but he's not. Looks like he's getting up a turret at this time, just for the record. After there's an expansion, 9 minutes is a good time for a turret. Otherwise, it's usually around 7 or 8 minutes. I'd put it up at 7, just in case, but if you have no intel, if you don't know that he's going Dark Templar, you should just definitely have one. And then scout your base for a pylon and all that good stuff. Because otherwise, yeah, Dark Templar will just ruin your day, and that sucks. So yeah, Protoss pressured, came back. All of his units are alive. So that's what pressure pretty much looks like. I didn't really get a good shot of it, but so you know. So now FE is going to be pressuring, scouting around with stuff. Protoss has an observer over that third to check to see if he expands. And, well, actually, Protoss doesn't have a lot. Protoss could be in a lot of trouble here. The Moral just coming out. He does have some sentries and zealots there. So FE is taking the watchtower. Now he's possibly going to be moving back in. And, yeah. Protoss sees it. Okay, so he's going to be actually going and attacking the main here with those medevacs to spot stuff. I don't know, so he could be pressuring the front. It's not a big deal. I mean, he's picking off stuff. That's what you want to be doing. He's picking off these pylons on the edge. So that's very nice. You know, that's 200 minerals worth of damage he just guaranteed himself. Now these stalkers can't really do anything about it either, so he's going to be just fine. Let's see, no command. Okay, command center looks like it's going to be going up soon, which is good. He has a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra gas is what I mean. So I mean, I wish he would spend that a little bit, but I'm not going to be too picky about that, because I'm sure he's going to spend it pretty soon here. Alright, so command center is going up now. And these guys pretty much just, you know, they are pressuring. This is a type of pressure. You don't necessarily have to look at his army. Now, if you want to, you know, to me, it's almost better to go over there and look at his army and say, okay, he doesn't have enough. Let's punish him for it. But the fact that he came out of his base into the middle here and just made sure Protoss knew about it, you know, kind of forced some things. Now he has drop back here. Looks like the medevac was picked off, so that was kind of a blunder. Well, let's actually rewind so we can look at that a little bit better. Alright, here comes the drop. He sees no units. Here's the stalkers, though. Yeah, now at this point, once you see the stalkers, you should be getting out of there. But, you know, at the same time, he's taking over his base, so I mean, it is really kind of tricky to do. But, you know, there's something to maybe work on. Try not to let that happen. And let's see, we have a factory floating around. I would rather have seen the factory up here. And you can check to see if there's any stalkers at this position before you even drop. That way you're just going to be able to do a lot of good stuff that way. Alright, so Hana is getting up his +2, I think. Yep, his +2s right now. Thermal Lance, all that good stuff. Colossus coming out. FE is coming out of his base with all of his Marines and Marauders. Once again, a couple of medevacs. And continuing with the pressure here. Let's see. Observers are just running around. Is he going for a ninja expansion? I think Protoss is actually going for a ninja expansion. Nope, he's just scouting. Alright, just checking to see if there's any ninja expansions. Alright, so now these Colossus, or I mean these Marauders attacking in there. Colossus back here, they don't, well actually they do have the Thermal Lance now. So we'll see. Okay, it's coming out. So yeah, even just showing up like this will make it look like, okay, I need to not make so much tech. I need to just get more gateway stuff. So, you know, Hana, he is getting a robotics facility, but since he already has one, and since he already has 2 bases, it's really not that big of a deal. It's really not high tech. You know, if you got like a Dark Templar right now, or Dark Shrine, or Templar Archives, then yeah, that would be teching. Even a Twilight, well, he already has a Twilight console, so never mind. Alright, so now Protoss is taking his base, his third, and sitting out here. Yes, see, this is what you want to be doing, sitting out in the front here, and then having a couple guys back here for defense. These could be just cannons, but of course, cannons, if you die, you know, they could be taken out, and you just need to get your army over there. They do have blink, so if you wanted to, you could just like move his army down here, including the stalkers, and then if there was a drop, blink up here, and after those cannons are gone, just like kill off the whatever he needs to with those. So the cannons could delay those marauders and marines from actually killing off any probes, and you could send in stalkers up there to defend it at that point. But yeah, right now it looks like he's just going to use his stalkers, which is fine. If you want to use stalkers, that's fine. But yeah, in case you wanted to use those stalkers with your main group, it doesn't hurt to have a couple of cannons. Looks like there's just a pick off that marine. Let's see, alright, so this factory coming in here trying to see what he can, and now he's coming back. Hopefully he's not going to be losing that factory up, but it looks like, yeah, he's going to get an SV over there. SCV, man. SCV! Alright, now it's finally being repaired. That factory's going to be just fine. I would have liked to see that a little bit sooner, but I'm not going to be hugely picky about that. Though I should be, I suppose, at this level. Alright, so now he's getting his +2 attacks. I wish he would have gotten them a little bit sooner. Plus upgrades are ridiculously good, especially if they're on Marines, because Marines attack so darn fast. 0.86 attack speed plus stim brings it down to like 0.6 or something like that. So this is actually really freaking strong with upgrades. So try to get those upgrades, and armor of course helps out significantly against stalkers and against zealots. And sentries actually. Not so much against Colossus, but actually, well, okay against Colossus since they do have 2 attacks. Armor counts twice then. So yeah. Let's see, just kind of sitting back. Both players on so many bases. Terran has some ghosts up. I would like to see another base, a 4th base right now. So I mean, Effie really has to do some damage. Otherwise, Protoss is just going to have that giant ball I was talking about. Now, Protoss is sitting back on a lot of Zealots, since he is going Colossus instead of for a lot of Dark Templar and Archons. That's going to be, he's going to be just fine with this. But if if his opponent was going for more of a high-tech mixture, this would not be safe for Terran. But yeah, as you can see, Terran just has a ton of guys. Protoss has only so many. Let's see, it actually has a lot of stalkers in the back here that I could use. Which he should be moving over there. Definitely move him over. Yep, now he's moving him over. Ghost is doing some good EMPs. You gotta be really careful about that. That's Protoss. And yeah, all this Viking. Terran just has so many dudes here. Let's see, unit counting tab. Yeah, he doesn't have that many SCVs, just got so many Marines and Marauders to attack and do some damage. So, and actually, that's, if you're gonna all in like this, that's a good way of doing it. Just not build so many SCVs, and then you can just have more army for that all in. But then, of course, if your army gets cleaned up, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So don't do it against Archons or High Templar or even Dark Templar. Don't do it against those kind of units. Against Colossus, he just didn't have a lot of Colossus. The force fields weren't the best. So I mean, he did all right with that. And yeah, now that 3rd's cleaned up, and Effie pretty much has the game right now. He just doesn't have a lot. So yeah, this is a little bit different than the last couple of games with Dark Templar and Archons, because that's a really scary mix, and you guys really have more bases than him. Or just not let him have that many units. So yeah, sitting with a lot of Zealots, those are the lowest tech possible, so I mean, you don't worry about having tons of bases. But yeah, while he's doing that, he's able to get up another base while denying the base, so that was really awesome. He even did a little bit of extra harass with these Vikings, like, he pressured the front with his main group. The Vikings did what they needed to do, and then they were done doing that damage, so he came over here, landed them to do some extra damage. So that was actually really freaking nice. You used them with his main group to kill off Colossus, and then did some harass with that while doing, continuing the attack at the frontier. So that was actually really freaking nice. A lot of players don't do that with their Vikings. That's something you definitely want to be doing. Speed up a little bit. Oh, Cross has a pretty sizable force actually. So now this is getting to be somewhat of a high-tech army. It looks like he just didn't have enough for Storm. So Effie kind of lucked out with that. And also Effie has been around at the Protoss base, so he knows that those High Templar are pretty fresh. They couldn't storm, and he knew that, so he's just able to do so much damage there as well. Even sitting with the +3 now as well. And I give him the GG. And yeah, very well played there from Effie, just having good stuff at right times. But yeah, if you're going against like Colossus, I would consider high temp or high tech. But at the same time, he had so many zealots with it, and he just didn't have a lot of zealots, so that actually went really well. But if Hana did have a lot of high tech, like a ton of Colossus, or and a ton of Dark Templar or Archons or whatever, then he definitely would have needed an extra base. But yeah, and you definitely want to check for the pylon if you're going to be taking that base. And in that situation, this base would not be safe at all. But yeah, once again, since Hana just had lots of zealots, is actually very safe. But yeah. Alright, so I'm going to take a break now. I hope you guys enjoyed the first half. I'll be taking questions when I get back. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, Let's just say I'll be back at, I guess, 9 o'clock. Or, 9:05-ish. So, if you have questions, think of them now. I'll answer them when I get back, after I turn off and then back on the stream. And then we'll get over and do our other 2 replays, which are going to be 2 Zerg against Protoss games. And we'll have fun with that. So, stay tuned.